What if I told you that saving money your whole life might be the worst financial mistake you ever make? Not spending too much, not investing badly, saving too much. That idea sounds crazy. Every financial guru, every parent, every podcast tells you to save more and spend less. But what if they are all wrong about the most important thing? There is a book that will completely flip the way you think about money, time, and your entire life. And after reading it, you will never look at your bank account the same way again. Intro and Promise. The book is called Die with Zero, and the author is Bill Perkins. He is not some broke philosopher telling you money doesn't matter. He is a hedge fund manager, an energy trader, and a multimillionaire. He has made and spent tens of millions of dollars. And he figured something out that most wealthy people never do. Dying with a lot of money in the bank is not a win. It is actually a loss. It means you traded your time, your health, and your best years for money you never got to use. Here's what nobody tells you. The goal of money is not to have money. The goal of money is to have experiences. And experiences have a very short window. That window closes faster than you think. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the most powerful ideas from Die with Zero. You are going to learn why your body has an expiration date on joy. You are going to learn how experiences turn into something more valuable than money. And later in this video, I will reveal the one insight that completely changed how I think about spending and regret. It is the idea that hit me hardest. And I think it will hit you hard too. Let's get into it. Lesson 1. Stop saving your life for later. Think about someone you know. Maybe it is your dad. Maybe it is your uncle. Maybe it is your boss. Someone who worked incredibly hard for 30 or 40 years. Sacrificed vacations. Skipped trips. Said no to experiences because they were saving up. And now they are retired. They finally have the money. But something is different. Their knees hurt. They cannot travel the way they imagined. Their energy is not what it used to be. And the dream they spent their whole life saving for looks a little different now that they are actually living it. Bill Perkins calls this the biggest tragedy of modern life. We delay living until we can afford it. And by the time we can afford it, we can't fully live it anymore. Here is the core idea of this entire book. Your life is basically a pile of hours. Every single day, hours come out of that pile, and you can never put them back. The question is not how much money will you have when you retire. The real question is, what are you doing with your hours right now? Most people get this wrong. They think the goal is to maximize their wealth. But Bill Perkins says the real goal is to maximize your life energy. And those two things are not the same. Here's a real example. There was a man who dreamed his whole life of going to Italy. He wanted to walk through Rome, eat pasta in a little restaurant, stand in front of the Colosseum. That was his dream trip. So he saved for it. He told himself he would go when the kids were older. Then when work settled down. Then when he had more money. He died at 61. Never went to Italy. That is not a rare story. That is the default story for millions of people. Here's what nobody tells you. Waiting is not neutral. Every year you wait is a year of experience you will never get back. The Italy you visit at 65 is a different Italy than the one you would have visited at 35. Not better. Not worse. But different. And for some people, Italy never comes at all. The actionable takeaway from this lesson is simple. Think of one thing you have been putting off. One experience. One trip. One memory you have been saving for someday. Write it down. Give it a date. Not a vague someday. A real date. Because here's what Bill Perkins wants you to understand. Your life is not waiting for you to be ready. It is happening right now. And that brings us to something even more uncomfortable. Something most people have never thought about. Lesson 2. Your body has an expiration date on joy. Most people think they will enjoy the same things at 60 that they enjoy at 30. That is not how it works. Bill Perkins introduces this idea called time bucketing, and it will change the way you plan your entire life. Here is how it works. Imagine your life divided into buckets. Each bucket is roughly a 10-year window. Your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and so on. Here is the key insight. Each bucket has a different version of you in it, with different energy levels, different physical ability, different desires. Some experiences only fit inside certain buckets. Surfing in your 20s feels incredible. Surfing in your 70s is a different story. Backpacking through Southeast Asia at 25 is an adventure. At 75, you might not be able to carry the backpack. This changes everything, because if you spend your entire 20s and 30s sacrificing experiences to save money, you are not just delaying those experiences. You might be eliminating them. The version of you that could have fully enjoyed that experience is gone. You cannot get that version back. Most people think saving money is always smart, but actually, spending on the right experience at the right time in your life is one of the smartest financial decisions you can make, because you are getting maximum value out of your peak ability to enjoy it. Think about it this way. If someone offered you a $100 bill to spend today versus the same $100 bill to spend at 80 years old, which is more valuable? Most people would say the $100 today, because you can do more with it. You can enjoy it more fully. You have more energy, more options, more ability to extract joy from that money. The same logic applies to your entire financial life. Money in your youth is worth more in terms of experience than money in your old age. Not because money changes, but because you change. Here is a relatable example. Two friends, same age, same income. One of them decides to spend his late 20s traveling. He goes to Japan. He backpacks through Europe. He tries things he has never tried. His savings are smaller than his friends, but he is building something his friend is not. He is building a memory bank. The other friend saves aggressively. Smart guy. Disciplined. By 45, he has a big retirement account. But he never did those things. And now his back hurts. His kids need attention. His window for certain adventures has quietly closed. The actionable takeaway here is this. Look at your current life stage and ask yourself one honest question. What can I do right now that I might not be able to do in 10 years? That is your priority list. Not what can I afford in the future. What can I fully enjoy right now? Because the next lesson is going to show you something fascinating. Those experiences you have, they do not just give you one moment of happiness. They give you something that keeps paying you back for the rest of your life. Lesson 3. Experiences are the only investment that grows forever. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah. She is 43 years old, and she is sitting at her kitchen table on a rainy afternoon. Her kids are grown. The house is quiet, and she closes her eyes for a moment. She is not thinking about her 401k balance. She is not thinking about the car she bought at 32. She is thinking about a summer 15 years ago when she and her best friend drove up the Pacific Coast Highway with no plan, no hotel booked, just a full tank of gas and nowhere to be. They got lost. They laughed. They watched the sun go down over the ocean. She still remembers the color of the sky. That memory has been paying her back every single day for 15 years. Every time she thinks about it, she feels something real. Pride, joy, nostalgia, warmth. Bill Perkins calls this the memory dividend. And here's what nobody tells you. Experiences have compound interest. Just like money compounds in the bank, memories compound in your mind. The more time passes, the more valuable a great experience becomes. Because it gets woven into your identity, into your stories, into who you are. Think about the things you remember most vividly from your life. I would bet it is not the day you bought your couch, or the moment your credit card statement showed a zero balance. It is moments, experiences, people, feelings. Those are your real assets. And unlike money, no stock market crash can take them away. Here is the contrast. You could spend the same amount of money on two things: a new television or a weekend trip with your best friend. The television slowly loses value. In 5 years, it is outdated. In 10 years, it is garbage. But that weekend trip, in 10 years, that memory is priceless. You have told the story 100 times. You have laughed about it at dinner parties. It has become part of you. The secret is this. We are terrible at predicting what will make us happy. We think things will make us happy. We think upgrades will make us happy. But study after study shows that experiences beat possessions every single time when it comes to long-term happiness. And Bill Perkins takes this even further. He says that when you invest in experiences, you are not just buying a moment. You are buying all the anticipation before it, all the joy during it, and all the memories after it. That is 3 waves of happiness from a single investment. Your new television gives you 1 wave, and it fades fast. The actionable takeaway from this lesson is this. The next time you are deciding between spending money on a thing versus spending money on an experience, remember the memory dividend. Ask yourself which one will still be paying you back in 20 years. That answer should guide your decision. Now here is where it gets really interesting, because knowing all of this is great. But Bill Perkins noticed something specific about money and time that most people completely ignore. And it is probably happening to you right now without you even realizing it. Lesson 4. You are robbing the people you love. Here is a question most people have never thought about. If you are planning to leave money to your kids, when do they actually need that money? Think about your own parents or grandparents. If they left you money in their will, when would that money help you the most? At 25, when you are broke and trying to figure out life? Or at 60, when you are already established and honestly do not need it as much? The answer is obvious, but most people are not acting like it is obvious. They are holding on to their money until they die. And then they pass it on to people who are old enough to not get maximum value from it. Bill Perkins says this is one of the greatest financial errors in modern family planning. Giving money to your heirs when you are dead is significantly less valuable than giving it to them while they are young. And while you are alive, to see the impact. Think about what it would mean for a 25-year-old to receive $20,000. It could help them start a business, pay off student loans, take a leap they were too scared to take, travel and grow before they have too many responsibilities. That money could literally change the direction of their entire life. Now think about what that same $20,000 means to a 50-year-old who already owns a house and has a stable job. It is nice, but it is not life-changing. Most people get this wrong. They think of their inheritance as a gift they give when they die. But Bill Perkins flips it. He says the most powerful gift you can give someone is money at the right time. And the right time is almost always earlier than you think. There is a concept in psychology called the peak of usability. Every resource has a moment when it does the most good. Money has that moment too. And for most heirs, that moment is in their 20s and 30s, not their 50s and 60s. The actionable takeaway here is direct. If you have people in your life you plan to support financially, start having a different conversation. Ask when do they need help most, not when will you be gone. When do they need it most right now? Because giving with warm hands is infinitely more powerful than giving with cold ones. And I want you to hold on to that idea, because what I am about to show you next takes everything we have talked about and turns it into a real system you can actually use. A way to calculate exactly how much you should be spending at every stage of your life. A way to make sure you are not leaving the best moments on the table. Lesson 5. The zero is not what you think it is. Let me clear something up right now. Because when most people hear the title Die with Zero, they imagine someone blowing all their money on fast cars at 5-star hotels and dying broke in a hospital bed. That is not what Bill Perkins is saying. Not even close. The zero he is talking about is not about being reckless. It is about being precise. It is about making sure that when you reach the end of your life, the gap between the life you lived and the life you could have lived is as small as possible. Think about it like a fuel tank. You are driving across the country. You want to arrive at your destination with as close to zero fuel left as possible. Not because you want to run out of gas, but because any fuel left over means you carried extra weight the whole trip for no reason. You paid for fuel you never used. Your money is the fuel. Your life is the trip. And dying with millions in the bank means you carried weight you never needed to carry. You worked extra hours you did not have to work. You skipped experiences you could have had. You stressed about money that was always going to be enough. Here's what nobody tells you. Most people who accumulate significant wealth are not saving because they need to. They are saving because saving became a habit. And habits are invisible. You stop questioning them. You just keep doing what you have always done. Bill Perkins interviewed wealthy retirees, people with more money than they could ever spend, and he asked them what they regretted. The answers were almost never, "I wish I had saved more." The answers were, "I wish I had traveled when I could walk without pain. I wish I had spent more time with my kids when they were young. I wish I had taken that risk when I had the energy to recover from failure." Nobody said, "I wish I had a bigger bank account." The secret is this. The goal is not $0 in the bank. The goal is zero unlived life on the table. Those are completely different targets. And most people are aiming at the wrong one. Here is the actionable takeaway. Grab a piece of paper. Write down your current age. Now estimate honestly how much money you will realistically need to live comfortably for the rest of your life. Not lavishly, comfortably. Include healthcare. Include housing. Include all of it. Now look at what you are saving beyond that number. That extra money, that is unlived life, sitting in an account. And only you can decide if it is worth it. Now this leads to something that trips almost everyone up, because even people who intellectually agree with everything I just said still struggle to actually spend. And the reason why is fascinating. Lesson 6. Why your brain is wired to keep you broke in a different way. This one is going to surprise you. Most financial advice talks about people who spend too much. Impulse buyers. Shopaholics. People with zero savings. But Bill Perkins is talking about a completely different problem. He is talking about people who are excellent savers, disciplined, responsible, financially smart by every traditional measure. And he says these people have their own version of being broke. They are time broke. They are experience broke. They have money, but they cannot bring themselves to spend it on life. Most people think the villain in personal finance is overspending. But actually, for a huge portion of people, especially high earners, the villain is the inability to spend it all. There is a psychological phenomenon called loss aversion. Your brain is wired to feel the pain of losing something about twice as strongly as it feels the pleasure of gaining the same thing. So spending money feels like losing something. Even when you have more than enough. Even when you will never miss it. The emotional pain of watching your account go down is real. And it stops people from living. Bill Perkins says this is a glitch in the human software. Evolution made us this way because scarcity was real for most of human history. Your brain does not know you live in the modern world with a steady income and a retirement account. It still thinks winter is coming and you need to hoard everything. Here is a real example that hits hard. There was a nurse who worked in elder care. She spent her career sitting with people in the final weeks of their lives, and she started writing down what they regretted, not medical regrets. Life regrets. The list that came out of that research became famous. Number 1 on the list was this: I wish I had lived a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. But close behind it, I wish I had let myself be happier. I wish I had not worked so hard. I wish I had stayed in touch with friends. Not one person on that list said I wish I had saved more money. Most people get this wrong. They think financial discipline means always saving more. But real financial discipline means having the courage to spend on what actually matters. It means fighting your own brain's fear response. It means choosing life over the illusion of security. The actionable takeaway here is this. The next time you hesitate to spend on something meaningful because it feels like losing money, pause. Ask yourself one question. Will I regret not doing this? Not will I regret spending the money. Will I regret not doing this? Because regret of inaction is almost always heavier than regret of action. And in the end, it is the things you did not do that will haunt you the most. But here is the thing. None of this works without one key ingredient. And it is something most people completely underestimate until it is too late. Lesson 7. Health is the currency you cannot print more of. Bill Perkins lays out what he calls the 3 levers of a great life. You have time, you have money, and you have health. And here is the brutal truth. You can almost never have all 3 at their peak at the same time. When you are young, you have time and health but no money. You are broke but full of energy. You can sleep on a hostile bunk bed and wake up excited. When you are middle-aged, you have money and maybe time, but your health is starting to shift. Small things hurt. Recovery takes longer. The all-night adventure sounds less appealing. When you are old, you might have time and money, but health becomes the limiting factor, and no amount of money can fully buy it back. This changes everything, because what it means is that the window where all 3 overlap, even partially, is incredibly short, and most people are sleepwalking through it. Here is a story that illustrates this perfectly. Picture a man named David. He spent his entire career grinding. Long hours, missed dinners, canceled vacations. By 58, he had a beautiful house, a massive retirement account, and a plan to finally start living. At 61, he got a diagnosis. Nothing fatal, but chronic, painful enough to limit what he could do. Suddenly, the list of experiences he had been saving for got shorter. The hiking trip, gone. The scuba diving, gone. The backpacking adventure he always talked about, gone. He still had the money. He just no longer had the health to fully use it. Here's what nobody tells you. Health is the multiplier on every other resource. When your health is high, money does more. Experiences feel more intense. Time feels more abundant. When your health declines, everything gets discounted. The same trip that would have been extraordinary at 40 is just exhausting at 70. Bill Perkins is not saying ignore your future. He is saying take your health seriously right now. Because investing in your health is not just a wellness decision. It is a financial decision. Every healthy year you maintain gives you more capacity to enjoy everything else you are working toward. The actionable takeaway is this. Look at your spending this month. How much went toward health? Toward movement? Toward sleep? Toward food that actually fuels you? Now look at how much you spent on things that are slowly draining your health. Your body is the vehicle for every experience you will ever have. Treat it like the asset it is. And now we are getting to the part of the video I promised you at the beginning. The single insight from this book that changes everything. The idea that reframes not just how you spend money, but how you see your entire life. Lesson 8. Regret is the real cost of playing it safe. There is a concept Bill Perkins introduces called the regret minimization framework. And once you understand it, it will become one of the most useful mental tools you own. Here is how it works. When you are trying to make a big decision, especially one involving spending money on an experience, project yourself forward. Imagine yourself at 90 years old, sitting in a rocking chair, looking back at your whole life. Now ask from that chair, will I regret not doing this? Not will I regret spending the money. Will I regret not doing this? Most of the time the answer is yes. And that yes should matter more than your fear. Jeff Bezos used this exact framework when he was deciding whether to leave his stable Wall Street job to start an Amazon in his garage. He said, when I am 80 years old and looking back, I know I will not regret having tried and failed, but I know I will regret not trying at all. So he quit his job. The rest is history. But here is where it gets personal. Because this framework is not just for business decisions. It applies to every dimension of your life. The relationship you are afraid to invest in. The country you keep saying you will visit someday. The conversation you keep putting off with someone you love. The creative project that has been living in your head for 3 years. Most people get this wrong. They think playing it safe is the low-risk option. But actually, playing it safe carries its own enormous risk. The risk of looking back and realizing you never really lived the life that was available to you. That is the highest risk of all. And almost nobody talks about it. Here's what really hit me about this book. Bill Perkins is not asking you to be reckless. He is not saying blow your savings tomorrow. He is saying be deliberate. Be intentional. Stop letting life happen to you by default and start designing it on purpose. Because every single day you are making choices, and those choices are adding up to a life. The only question is whether that life is the one you actually wanted. The secret is this. The people who look back with the fewest regrets are not the ones who are the most disciplined savers. They are the ones who were the most deliberate livers. They thought about what they actually wanted. They matched their spending to their values. And they had the courage to say yes to life, even when it was uncomfortable. The actionable takeaway here is powerful. Sit down this week and write out your regret list in reverse. Not things you regret doing. Things you will regret not doing. Put them in order from most painful to least painful. Now look at the top 3. What is stopping you from making progress on those 3 things right now? In most cases, the answer is not money. It is fear. And fear is something you can work with. Grand finale. So let's bring this all the way home. Bill Perkins wrote Die with Zero because he watched people, including himself, make the same mistake over and over again. They optimized for the wrong thing. They chased the number in the bank instead of the fullness of the life. He is not anti-saving. He is pro-living. He wants you to have security. But he also wants you to recognize that security without experience is just a very comfortable waiting room. Here is the truth this book comes back to again and again. You have one life. One. And it is made of moments. Moments with people you love. Adventures that push you. Experiences that shape who you are. Memories that stay with you until your very last breath. No one is going to lie on their deathbed wishing they had checked their account balance one more time. But plenty of people are going to lie there, wishing they had said yes more. Spent more time with their kids when those kids were small. Taken the trip. Had the dinner. Made the call. Taken the leap. The money was always a tool. It was never the destination. So here's the question Die with Zero leaves you with. And I want you to actually sit with it. Not just hear it and move on. If you knew exactly when your life would end, how would you spend your time differently starting tomorrow? Because here is the thing. You do not know that date. None of us do. And that uncertainty is exactly why waiting is so dangerous. The perfect moment you are saving your best experiences for might never come. But today is here, right now, full of possibility. Bill Perkins says the goal is simple. Maximize your life. Not your net worth, not your portfolio. Your actual lived, felt, experienced life. That knowing you squeezed every drop of joy, connection, meaning, and adventure out of the time you were given. That is what it means to die with zero. If this video made you see money or time differently, share it with one person who needs to hear it. And if you want more ideas that actually change how you think about life and money, subscribe to Mindfuel. We break down the best books in the world so you can live sharper, think clearer, and build a life worth living.